Coming up tonight on YCN News, a new Speaker of the House is chosen for New Hampshire. Stevens High School in Claremont may make adjustments to its academic schedule. And we'll look at the second part of our ski forum coverage. For more news, weather, and sports, it's time for YCN, your local view.
Now, your daily digest of the Dartmouth-Lake Sunapee region, southern Vermont, and Windsor County. News, sports, weather, and all that is happening in our area. The news on YCN, your local view.
Good evening and welcome to this Thursday edition of YCN News. I'm Lynn Solomon. Hudson Republican Sean Jasper is the new Speaker of the New Hampshire House. Jasper defeated Mount Vernon Republican Bill O'Brien, who earlier served as Speaker. Jasper won by 17 votes, receiving 195 votes compared to O'Brien's 178. Until yesterday's vote, O'Brien had been expected to again win the speakership, especially since O'Brien had secured the nomination of his GOP colleagues for a second term. All that remained was the final vote. In the end, after prolonged discussion, enough Republicans switched their allegiance to O'Brien, along with enough Democrats to secure the vote for Jasper. Democrats had nominated Stephen Shurtleff of Pennacook to be Speaker. O'Brien's 2011 to 2012 term as House Speaker was marked by controversy for his leadership style. With its 400 state representatives making up the House, combined with 24 state senators, New Hampshire boasts the nation's largest state legislature. Parents of Claremont's Stevens High School students will learn more next week of a possible block scheduling change. School principal Patricia Berry and business teacher Charlie Gessner explained how a class schedule change would benefit teachers and students at the grade 9 through 12 school. It remains to be seen how the blocks would be restructured. Block scheduling has been used by school districts throughout the country since the late 1990s. The purpose is to allow for longer, more in-depth teaching and expected better understanding of lessons by students. It's not a perfect schedule, though, as some classes are not offered in the Claremont district each year. The school does not now use a 6 or 7 classes per day schedule that residents may be more familiar with. Those issues need to be ironed out, Berry explained. Gessner is a scheduling guru, Berry told YCN News after the meeting, which makes his technical skills on school class scheduling invaluable. That's a reason for the 6 p.m. meeting in the Stevens High School library next Tuesday, December 9th. Turning to Vermont business news, this story goes out to beer aficionados. Trout River Brewing Company is relocating to Springfield, Vermont, the Eagle Times reports. The former Fellows Gear Shaper building will be the home of the company. A February 2015 opening is possible. The Springfield Regional Development Corporation announced the sale yesterday. When YCN News returns, we'll learn about a water main break in Lebanon and see continued coverage of the ski forum involving Mount Sunapee.
The YCN News continues in a moment.
Welcome back to YCN News. I'm Lynn Solomon. If you live on or near Meriden Road in Lebanon, you may have noticed a drop in your home or apartment's water pressure today. A water main break this morning affected service for 6 hours, Lebanon Department of Public Works officials say. Service from number 220 Meriden Road to La Plante Road, plus Larrow and Kinney Streets, was interrupted. Today, we learn more about the future of the ski industry in New Hampshire. Recently, the Urban Land Institute hosted a forum on the ski industry's impact on New Hampshire development, moderated by Jessica Keeler, Executive Director of Ski New Hampshire. Area participants included Jay Gamble from Mount Sunapee Resort, who made some remarks at the forum about the cost of energy and doing business in northern New England, as well as we move into the future. After the forum, we traveled to the resort and asked him to expand on the thoughts he made about business and energy.
Energy in New Hampshire is part of New England. You can't separate New Hampshire from New England, and there are two main components to energy. There's generation of energy, and then there's transmission of energy. And in the last decade, what we've seen is generation go offline, and we've not seen many new transmission projects come online either. So we're losing generation faster than it's being replaced. Energy from outside of New England has to get here by transmission. Transmission, whether it be underground pipelines for natural gas, or whether it be power cables, overhead or underground, from Hydro-Quebec, we have external energy that can be brought in, but it requires transmission. But the transmission corridors have got to be constructed. And we're losing generation faster than it's being replaced in region. The combination of both of those items are going to lead to doubling of energy cost for all residents and businesses in New England in the coming 2 to 3 years. We hear on the nightly news every other month what a gallon of gas costs. We're not getting the same media coverage and awareness of New England's energy situation. And New England is at the end of the pipeline to some extent for natural gas. And we need a couple more pipelines built to serve New England, or we're going to see energy prices double. It's complex from the standpoint that there's both generation and transmission. It's complex because of all the regulation. It's complex because of the significant cost to construct transmission or generation. It's complex because it's difficult to permit new generation or transmission. So it takes a very concerted regional effort by the 6 governors in the New England states to really address this problem. But the impact is significant. Manufacturing jobs. Manufacturing is the number 1 industry in New Hampshire. Tourism is number 2. Highly skilled, high-paid manufacturing jobs may be the first jobs lost, because if you're producing a product in New Hampshire and you're paying 12 to 14 cents a kilowatt for electrical energy, and your competitors, whether it be in the southeast or the southwest or overseas, are paying 4 to 6 cents per kilowatt hour, your product will not be cost competitive, and there's a likelihood that either you will end up going out of business or the jobs will be relocated elsewhere. And that's something we can't allow to happen to our New Hampshire economy. We need to get this energy, we need to find solutions for our energy problem and protect manufacturing, our manufacturing base in New England. But I think you need to talk to your politicians, especially your elected representatives in Washington, because this is both a national and a regional problem. We've got to move the issue to the forefront. Everybody pays so much attention to the price of a gallon of gas, but are we paying attention to the price of a kilowatt of electricity?
Thanks, Jay. It's interesting that the ski areas are stuck where they are, and to survive, they have to continually adjust their business plans to accommodate that additional cost. More important, though, is the impact that high energy costs will have on manufacturing, where businesses can take their facilities and jobs to regions of the country that have lower energy costs. When YCN News returns, we'll learn about Mascoma Bank consumer security questions with Pete Bagan.
The YCN News continues in a moment.
Welcome back to YCN News. I'm Lynn Solomon. Let's join Matt McDonald for weather and sports.
Thanks, Lynn. Tonight we'll have mostly clear skies with a low around 17 degrees. Friday we'll have partly sunny skies with a high near 30 degrees. Later that night we may experience snow, then sleet. Lows will be in the 20s. On Saturday, rain is expected. Highs will reach near 40 degrees. Saturday night there may be a chance of rain showers and then snow showers before 7 p.m. Lows will be around 22 degrees.
Snow Country Snapshot is brought to you by Bubba's Bar and Grill in Newbury, New Hampshire.
And we're back. Ski season is underway. Hallie O'Brien here with the Snow Country Snapshot at Bretton Woods in New Hampshire, the largest ski area in New Hampshire. And their snow and grooming is top notch. I know this because the readers of Ski Magazine voted them #1 for snow and grooming 2 years running. And it's because of machines like this. Last week's fresh snow got us pumped up for a strong start to the ski season, and the snowmakers have covered miles of big mountain trails. So if you want some early season action, the slopes are ready. Mount Sunapee has long top-to-bottom slopes off the main mountain and easier terrain on their south peak. They have up to 4 miles of trails, while Pat's Peak returns Saturday with more than half their terrain. What makes you want to be a groomer here?
It started off in the terrain parks, and I was a little too picky with how I wanted the machine run, so they said, you want it done that way, go ahead and do it yourself.
Favorite part of the job?
I spend a lot of times building terrain parks. You know, when you're getting out of the cat at 8 in the morning, all the kids running out, they want to know what's new in the park, and I like it.
You're like the terrain park Santa Claus. Okemo just installed a brand new 6-pack high-speed bubble chair, which means it's protecting you from the elements from bottom to top. Stratton picks up another 4 inches of snow on Wednesday, and they'll top that off with snowmaking the rest of the week. The Stratton gondola and high-speed 6-pack chairs are already turning. I'm Hallie O'Brien. This is the Snow Country Snapshot, and we'll see you next week. What do you think this button does?
And now let's take a look at our community calendar. Come to the holiday season kickoff event in New London tomorrow at 4 p.m. in Whipple Hall. In Hanover, the Dartmouth College Christmas tree lighting will take place at 5 p.m. In White River Junction, Vermont, there will be a holiday party at the Main Street Museum at 6 p.m. And in Woodstock, Vermont, check out the Thetford Chamber Singers at the North Universalist Chapel Society, starting at 7:30 p.m. Remember, you can submit local events from your community by sending them to news@ycnnow.com. Turning to Manchester Monarchs news, just a reminder that there will be 2 games later this week. Tomorrow, the Monarchs are slated to face Portland in Portland, Maine at the Cross Insurance Arena starting at 7 p.m. Then on Saturday, Manchester will host the Norfolk Admirals. The game starts at 7 p.m. also. YCN will bring you the results of these games next Monday.
When we return, we'll join Capital Connections' John O'Connor, who interviewed Peter Galbraith.
The YCN News continues in a moment.